Dear ladies and gentlemen, would like to welcome you to our current event. We're here today to submit a platform for the National Local Dialogue for Open Government in Ukraine. It's a great opportunity to me to discuss, speak about the best practices, resilience of Ukrainian citizens during the war. We have an opportunity to discuss the National Action Plan on Open Government, where the local self-government is engaged. And we have a great opportunity to share previous outcomes which we reach in the process of the assemblies in the city of Rivne and the city of Kiev. We have a very brief meeting, and I would like to invite for the welcome word the city mayor, the head of the Association of Ukrainian Cities, Mr. Klitschko, Vitaly Volodymyrovich. Good day. We'd like to welcome everyone. Sorry for a little delay. There have been some technical issues. Our guests were concerned that we should be on time, and I took the responsibility for this delay. So there would not be any big complaints, no big fights on that for that delay. First of all, I would like to acknowledge everyone's contribution, to welcome all of you for finding the time to come to the capital for a very important meeting with our partners for development of self-governance. There's difficult times as during the war. We have lots of challenges, and I would like to thank our partners, the President and the Timori and our strategic partners, the Congress of Regional Authorities from the Council of Europe. Without these partners, without France, it's very difficult to go over these difficult times. So we do count on further support on the recovery, the changes, the reforms which we should implement in our country. I would like to thank for the assistance standing and promoting decentralization, strengthening of the governance in Ukraine. I would like to thank for the assistance, definitely. So when people assist, we should acknowledge that. You know how many European partners help us in all the areas, in all the streams, and one of the areas is our current meeting in order to check the watches, to understand that we're on the right track. We do cooperate with the Association and the Congress of Europe, and during the war, the key message is to preserve self-governance. We also today meet in order to, for the first time, to acknowledge the open government competition. We started that competition in 22 after the deoccupation of some of the territories to demonstrate to the whole world how the communities stand strong, how the communities assist one another. We help the people, and we there's a huge pressure on the defense forces. The winners are defined by the Commission and the Congress of the Council of Europe, the Secretariat, the Cabinet of Ministers. And what's important, the joint, we are united. We are looking for the results. We have results where the community winners get an opportunity for international communities cooperation. 11 communities with the support participated in the global sector sector open governance event in Spain. That no one was kind of accused for visiting the Spain. So we spoke with other partners. There's sometimes strange comments that the representatives from the local governments go on a business trip somewhere, and there are complaints from the central authority. So we started to provide reasonable justification. So I hope that there won't be any complaints or accusations in the next upcoming business trips. We also get an expert support, a different mechanism, public assembly, different mechanism for engaging the citizens. It's important for us that during the hybrid war, which Russia carries out, political, non-political, to present what we are doing, to present that self-governance is the foundation for democracy in every European country. I would like also to mention that there's from the beginning of the full-scale invention, the communities decided to took the responsibility to assist citizens to deal with the aggression, to combat the aggression, and currently in detention, they keep Alexander Babi's three local authorities from Kherson region, Igor Kaliha from Kherson, and Anatoly Siri, Starosta from Starostinsky, from Sosnovsky community, Chernigiv region. The presence of representatives Ukrainian communities and assistance to people in detention, we join our efforts to increase their chance for the return. Unfortunately, they're about 4 years in detention, and our task is to return those guys. It's difficult for us to deal with many challenges. We are not military people, but the Association of Ukrainian Cities continues to fight the Congress of the Council of Europe provides their assistance to us. We should do everything what we can to return our colleague to the government-controlled territory. It's very important to communicate, exchange the information, and jointly develop the areas for strengthen local self-governance and continue the reforms, one of which was the most successful. This was decentralization, local self-governance. The reform should continue regardless of difficult time of the war. We should deal with those challenges. We take the heating season, for example, the central authorities put on our shoulders, and the mobilization, assistance to the defense forces. And at this difficult time, we should continue to do everything possible that the foundation for the future, democratic future of our country would to stand the interest for the self-governance and continue the reforms, decentralization. Once the war is over, we do hope on this. That would be one of the most important for the future of our country. Sorry for such a long introductory speech, but I thought that the issues which I wanted to deliver, they are very important to start our work. I would like to welcome our friends who are physically, regardless of the shelling, visit our city, visit our country, this is a sign for all of us that we're not alone. We get assistance. With the joint efforts, we'll be able to combat all the challenges which we have today. Thank you. Thank you, Vitaly, for the inspiring words. And like immediately pass the microphone to Martini, the Secretary General from the Congress of Local and Regional, from the Council.
Klitschko, dear mayors, dear friends, it's very good to see so many familiar and friendly faces again in this room. I'm particularly glad to be here today since it's only 10 days ago that the Council of Europe adopted a resolution establishing the special tribunal to judge the crime of aggression against Ukraine. And I think in those specifically difficult times of the last 48 hours, I think it's an important move that has been supported by 36 countries and the European Union, which have declared their intention to join the special tribunal. We are building accountability where none existed before, and we are placing democratic resilience at the heart of recovery and reconstruction. Indeed, we do need military security, obviously, but we also need security that starts with institutions people can trust, and that's basically you. This is why open government has been a priority for the Council of Europe and its Congress, and still remains a cornerstone for the implementation of our strategic priorities, whether seeking effective local and regional responses to public health crises, enhancing the quality of democracy and citizen participation, or supporting the development of digitalization with ethical, legal, reliable technologies. The Congress also recognizes the great importance of consultations between local and central authorities through regular and effective dialogue, which is a fundamental principle of the European Charter of Local Self-Government. This is why I would like to underline the importance of this platform that gathers us today. A common space for dialogue, learning and innovation for local authorities and national associations of local and regional authorities. This platform ensures that there is a bottom-up approach and contribution to the national strategies, and that local authorities implement activities that have an impact at local and national level. I'd like to use this opportunity to confirm our readiness to provide always further assistance to the Ukrainian authorities, including involvement of Ukrainian local and regional authorities in the implementation of the National Action Plan on Open Government. Dear friends, this meeting of the platform will disseminate the findings of citizens' assemblies held in Ukrainian municipalities and celebrate local best practices through the results of the national competition, Best Stories of Resilience and Co-action in Communities in Times of War. Launched in 2022 by the Association of Ukrainian Cities in partnership with the Congress and supported by the Secretariat of the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine, this competition showcases inspiring examples of wartime cooperation and promotes the exchange of best practices. As always, I look forward to our discussion this morning, and I look forward to hearing about the great many innovative practices you've been implementing of open government and participatory democracy in your communities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mori. We start our subject session, which is devoted to the best cases and the resilience in your community during the war. Basically, this is the session we are here today. It's a great pleasure for me today that have the delegation from the Congress the citizen. We have the representative from different countries, and I hope later today we'll have an opportunity to chat. And I would like to invite Cecilia Nelman, the president of the Palace of Region from the Congress of Local and Regional Cities. Cecilia, you're on.
Thanks a lot. Yes, we come from different countries, and I am from Sweden. And dear colleagues, just let me assure you that the Congress, as well as my home country, really stands behind your every effort in this. And when I meet you, and I'm sure that this today will be exactly the same, it shows us that war has not silenced Ukraine's communities. That is very impressive, and it has made them more determined, actually. And across the country, local communities have demonstrated that resilience is not only about surviving hardship. It is also about continuing to govern. It is about innovation and caring for each other. And today's award ceremony celebrates exactly this spirit. The national competition, Best Stories of Resilience and Co-Action in Communities in Time of War, was launched 2022 by the Association of Ukrainian Cities in a partnership with the Congress of Local and Regional Authorities in Council of Europe, and with the support of the Secretariat of the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine. Its core purpose is to surface and to share inspiring stories of local self-government under wartime conditions, and to promote the exchange of best practices among Ukrainian communities. This competition sits within a broader multi-level dialogue platform on open government in Ukraine, which brings together national and local stakeholders to share experience and assess progress, and to translate local innovations into national level gains. And today's event connects community achievements directly to Ukraine's National Action Plan on Open Government for 2026 to 27, and to the findings of citizens' assemblies held in Ukrainian municipalities. The Congress has been a committed partner in supporting open, inclusive and accountable local government. In 2025, 8 local authorities were selected to develop and to implement local initiatives on open government and the protection of human rights, in line with the 12 principles of good democratic governance. The local program members of the Open Government Partnership, Sviahel and Orsytsia, are also receiving support to implement commitments from their local action plans on open government. And this shows that international frameworks, such as this Open Government Partnership, can be meaningful, and it can be adapted and applied at the community level, even under wartime conditions. Sustaining these results requires building lasting capacity. A training of trainers on open local government was delivered for AUC staff, based on the new manual, Co-Creating Local Open Government Commitments. That was released in September 25. This positioned the AUC to disseminate open government methodologies at a national scale. The Community Recovery School has further equipped local officials to manage public investment transparently and design inclusive recovery policies. We at the Congress are very proud to support these policies. All of these efforts ultimately serve the people in communities. Veterans, youth, and internally displaced persons have been among the primary beneficiaries through more inclusive policies, improved access to information, and local government that they can trust. When residents trust their local government, communities become stronger and more resilient. The stories recognized today are not only a reflection of Ukraine's present, they are a foundation for Ukraine's future. Recovery is not only about rebuilding infrastructure, it is about rebuilding trust, democratic culture, and participatory governance. The communities honored today are already leading by example, and their experiences can inspire local governments all across Europe. Thank you all. I look forward to this day.
Thank you, Ms. Cecilia. And now I would like to give the floor for opening remarks to Oksana Prodan, advisor to the chair of the Association of Ukrainian Cities. Since the Association of Ukrainian Cities, together with us, the Congress of Local and Regional Authorities of the Council of Europe, and with the support of the Secretariat of the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine, initiated this exchange of best practices of co-action. So please, thank you very much for this opportunity and honor to talk to you with these introductory remarks. First, in 2022, when with the support of the Congress and the Secretariat of Cabinet of Ministers, we initiated this competition, we, the Ukrainian communities, needed it to see the confirmation, to feel that we dealt with it, that we found the solutions, and we did it to help ourselves. First of all, it's been 4 years since it was launched, and every year we can see new solutions that the community find, and now it's probably the time for the next stage of this competition, when we, the Ukrainian communities, offer solutions that can be applied and used in the communities of European countries. And because unfortunately we have to find the solutions that are not described in any manuals, in any books, and that no one could find in different contexts, but we have to find them. So we will see the practices, the stories about the practices, so that the whole world might find useful. Different municipalities of European countries will be able to use these real examples, unfortunately written with the blood of our defenders, but they might find useful these experiences. So I am happy to be able to mention it, because we keep developing, we keep achieving positive results, and we want to share these results with the European municipalities in particular. Thank you. Thank you, Oksana. Actually, that's true. Our innovative practices of co-action and movement toward peaceful development should be shared with other communities, not only within Ukraine, but also outside of Ukraine. And that's when I'd like to start with the most pleasant part of the ceremony. And for that, I would like to pass the floor to my colleague Oleg Muzichenko. We can start the award itself, the award ceremony. Hello, dear colleagues. I will now read out the titles of the communities, so please feel free to react and to take the photos. So, Rivne City Territorial Community with the practice of inclusivity route. The president of the Congress of Local and Regional Authorities and the head of the Association of Ukrainian Cities will pass the award. The project is aimed at tackling the systematic problem of lack of barrier-free space for different groups of population with reduced mobility. Slobozhanska Village Territorial Community with a practice community without barriers. That's a comprehensive initiative on establishment of accessible environment where social support, protection of human rights are real values, where physical accessibility is combined with barrier-free space. And I would like to invite Pustomytivska Territorial Community with the initiative of accessible community. In their community, they systematically implement solutions to develop inclusive environment for every citizen. Lutsk City Territorial Community with their initiative Space of Dialogue, where the youth is heard. Municipality has created a space for a dialogue where an efficient communication is arranged for consultations with the youth, using different tools to involve young people into decision-making, development and shaping of future. I would like to invite Kalos City Territorial Community with their initiative Leadership Schools and Active Citizenship School. Their school is a comprehensive initiative aimed at involvement of young people into the managerial processes for the development of community and civil life. Lozivska City Territorial Community with their initiative Youth Council and City Council. The Youth Council under the City Council has become an active platform for youth engagement, and young people are involved in every aspect of government. Bakhmutska City Territorial Community with their initiative Living History Dialogues with young people. This project is a series of honest, sometimes painful, but very important dialogues between young people and veterans. The veterans, the former combatants, tell young people about a different aspect of war. Another initiative, Platform for Open Budget. Yemelchinka Territorial Community has created a platform for open budget using different tools, and including e-consultations tool. Next, it should be the Vyazivska village community, but unfortunately they couldn't come. But still, they implemented an initiative related to shelters, availability of shelters. We all have to live with this reality. Dear heads of communities, dear deputy heads, just a few days ago, there was an attack, a serious attack, so we have to mention this important contribution. And now we would like to pass the award for sustainable open government to the community, which is always present at our competition. Khmelnytsky City Territorial Community with their initiative School of Self-Government, Local Self-Government. The project ensured the involvement of young people into local self-government. Zviazhska City Territorial Community with their initiative Academy of Leadership for Young People. It's an educational and a volunteering project to develop the memory policy in the community. Congratulations. Now I'm inviting Novovolinska City Territorial Community with their initiative Eco-Co-working, environmentally friendly co-working for school children. That's an example of a combination of educational, social and environmental approaches at the level of community. And now I would like to pass the floor to the Executive Director of the Association of Ukrainian Cities, Alexander Slobozhan. Dear colleagues, the best we have in our life is the possibility to improvise. For 5 years, we've been working with the Secretariat over the Cabinet of Ministers, so I would like to ask Vitaly Volodymyrovich to award our colleague from the Secretariat, Yuri Severin, Director of the Department for Regional Development of the Secretariat of the Cabinet of Ministers. Please come closer. You all communicate with the ministers, deputy ministers, and you work on many documents when you try to replicate best practices, and that's what the special department within the Secretariat does, the Department for Regional Development. So you are someone who is usually behind the scene, but I want you to remember this face. And we would like to award Volodymyrovska City Territorial Community. That's the community which submitted many applications, but unfortunately hasn't scored the sufficient results. So we would like to give you a certificate demonstrating your involvement, and it will make it possible for you to prepare the next application for the next year. And we would like to invite everyone to take the joint photo with the awards.
Потім продовжується сесія після фото.
After it, we will continue our session.
Dear colleagues, we're about to start part 2, and then there'll be part 3, a very important part for you, for us, Matmori and Vitaly, Cecilia, Oksana mentioned already. For the outcomes of all the competitions, we are going to make a publication. We have the publication for the year 22, 23, 24, and 25. I know that you're very modest. Colleagues already looking through the publications, and you are not promoting yourself. But if you don't spend 30% of your time to tell the others what you actually do for the communities in Ukraine, Ukrainian communities, for communities in Europe, it's very important. In addition to the publication of the best cases, success stories, we should respectfully create a community of practitioners. When every one of you would be invited, those who already had some experience, to share this experience with other communities. And the third point, when you establish a relationship between Norwegian, French, German, Danish, Czech, Polish municipalities, they don't pop up just out of nowhere. In the publications of the Council of Europe, which are posted on different media, and we encourage you to post there both in Ukrainian and English, when other municipalities would be able to read what's happening in your communities, to compare the developments, because the best relationship is where you have joint interest, informal partnership. So I have a request for you. Be part of the community of practitioners to disseminate this information which we presented to you today in the form of the publication. Disseminate them on digital resources with your partners, international partners, for more people to know about the resilience cases. And it's important pleasure for us to get request information from the municipalities and Council of Europe that they implement this practice. They share their practice. It's very important. Our work should not stop. We finalized that you applied and you got an award, got a plaque. You should continue as a practitioner. Svetlana, did I mention everything correctly? Didn't I forget anything? This is the victory obliges you to, because this is a cooperation in the area of open government. Thank you. Dear colleagues, I can only echo what Alexander said, what our colleagues said. The cases, the resilience cases are inspiring for Ukrainian communities and outside Ukraine. Everyone is interested to disseminate the practices, Ukrainian communities' cases in Ukraine and outside Ukraine. This is an integral part which we very often mention at the meetings of our platform, the National Action Plan of Open Government. This is National Action Plan which has been finalized, to be signed, will be approved. And this is about the role of communities on the implementation of the obligations stipulated by the National Action Plan on Open Government. Now we would like to invite Natalia Opsa, the Deputy Director from the Department of Information and Interaction from the Secretariat Cabinet of Ministers, and she's responsible for the coordination in local authority, central authority for the consultation, communications on the National Action Plan. Natalia, thanks for joining us. You are on. So, looking forward to get your presentation on the action plan. Thank you, Svetlana. Hello, everyone. Hope you hear me. Yeah, we do hear you. We see you. Great. Would like to I have a brief presentation to make it easy to absorb the information. I would like to remind that, as Svetlana correctly mentioned, we have the draft action plan. Currently is at the final stage, getting all the clearances with government authorities. Hope that in the future we would use it for the implementation. On the preparation of the plan, the initiative, the Partnership for Open Government, stresses the need to join the efforts from the civil society representative, from the entrepreneurs, citizens, to develop respectful action plans, starting from the analysis, the needs analysis of the citizens, and come up with the efficient solutions. The joint developments of the respect of the. This is where the partnership starts, actually, and of course, a prerequisite for the action plan is the joint implementation in partnership with the local governments, central authorities, representative civil society, international associations, and per the results of the implementation, including monitoring and assessments of some specific activities. Currently, among the tasks which the draft action plan has, we have a lot of activities which continue the work which started in previous years, and one of the initial activities, this is the public investments management, the implementation of application of the DREAM system, implementation of creation of the new services to engage the citizens, to ensure open response, and the development of the system is the implementation would directly depend on local authorities. Next element. Next point from the action plan is the application of multi-level dialogue platform for the integration of the standards, responsible business. The point is here that currently engaging entrepreneurs of different entities for cooperation, for recovery. We always know that government authorities, local authorities, not always know, don't have the full-scale information about entrepreneurs and development of such integrity environment, about transparency of the environment. This is about this event, and respectfully, the Ministry of Economy suggests to develop such a platform with the representative of the entrepreneurs to develop joint standards, to implement the standards in Ukrainian realities, to create such a standard and engage for the cooperation and use it. Just be in line with the principle of transparency and accountability. Next element is to continue with the previous one, to strengthen transparency and accountability of the extracting industries. This is the point about carrying out information awareness campaigns for different stakeholders, including entrepreneurs, citizens, to ensure the public control and expansion, the frame of the initiatives, to scale up the initiatives. You know that companies come up with the initiatives, the companies from the extracting industries, to share the information through the platforms. And the recent report, which was issued on the global level, tells us that Ukraine supports these standards, but they are updated, and there's a need to proceed with the initiatives, considering the recent global initiatives. Also, we continue the work on the implementation integrity principles and the educational establishments. In the previous plans, we develop proper recommendations for the universities. And the upcoming action plan, this work will continue, will propose online tools for self-assessments. The universities to ensure the transparency and the integrity. We considering piloting of this tool at some of the universities. That they would agree to that. They will finalize this tool and we will implement it in other universities. Also, one more task. It's a new piece for the plan, but in the context of the openness, transparency, and integrity, this is the integrity management at the national police. There will be a tool which will track two roles: how to track integrity principles implementation at the national police, and training on the integrity. Next two activities related to the continuation of the previous activities in the context of the introduction of open science standards. In the previous plans, we had to ensure openness of the academic publications to creation of the national depository of the research data. The new plan stipulates specifically dissemination of the open data about the researches done by the universities and other research, because the universities are very much interested where the public funding goes and who does what in terms of the researches, how the government policies develop on the researches. And respect for the next activity refers goes within the stream to research data, because there are lots of researches are done from the public funding. The National Academy of Science of Ukraine, and there should be to ensure access, not only the research institution, but other government institution to the same data. So not to duplicate funding, for example, on the researchers, allocation of funding for some use of the data which already exist on some specific researches. Also, as another important activity, and I think an important role would be placed by the local authorities, use simple language in communication with the citizens to ensure equal access to public information. Ministry of Culture specifically prepares proper methodology to assess simple language in communication from local authorities, how we can improve our communication with citizens, and have some specific trainings for civil servants, for the local officials. Also, next activities are dealing with the development of the civil society, participation of the citizens which is stipulated in the roadmap on the operation of the democratic institutions. The liberal democracy stipulates that not executive powers, executive bodies of Ukraine should follow that, but every official body create a safe environment. Development of the strategic document is stipulated to promote the development of the civil society, and the action plan stipulates proper activity. And I think that the role of the Association of Local Self-Governance in working with this document, development and further implementation would be very important for us, and that will be an opportunity to cooperate.
And another element which is probably more widespread at the local level, that's a matter of deliberative democracy. Something reflects in the roadmap for the functioning of democratic institutions. And also, when it comes to open government and development of the forms of deliberative democracy, including civic assemblies, educational events, online course for to inform about deliberative democracy. That's something which is on the list which is provided for by the action plan, draft action plan. And if there are any questions, I'm ready to answer. Thank you, Natalia. For us, it's quite obvious that these elements of the next action plan of open government are a logic continuation of the initiatives, the projects which were launched at local level. In particular, we mean here the initiatives on inclusion, on respect of human rights at local level. We also talk about establishing such forms of deliberative democracy as civil assemblies and citizens' assemblies, and upon the contribution of the Council of Europe, such assemblies were introduced in several communities of Ukraine. So we will smoothly pass to our next session on the results of citizens' assemblies, which happened a year ago and or were finalized just recently. And I'm passing the floor to moderate this part of our meeting to Darina Sokolova, my colleague, please. Thank you, Svetlana. Good afternoon. First, I would like to say that ambitious goal setting is the way I can describe the introduction of citizens' assemblies and elements of deliberative democracy in Ukraine, because when in 2024, with the support of the Council of Europe, the communities of Zyagl and Slavutic expressed their willingness and readiness to be pioneers, to be the first ones, and use such a tool as citizens' assembly. And today, during the presentation, you will understand what's their specifics. So we mean that that's the highest possible form of participatory involvement. It allows to hear the citizens directly and show that the recommendations that the citizens develop are valuable and will be implemented. When in 2024 in Ukraine the citizens' assemblies appeared, we had no expertise, so there were no experts on deliberative democracy and citizens' assemblies, and in the communities there was a lack of understanding of deliberative democracy and what's its value. And today, actually till the end of summer, 6 citizens' assemblies will have been implemented with the support of the Council of Europe, and it shows how Ukraine and Ukrainian communities involve citizens, are ready to involve citizens even during the war, especially during the war when we don't have the electoral process. And the latest citizens' assembly, which happened in Obolon district of Kyiv city, was dedicated to an important and painful topic of how we can support veterans and veteran family members. And I would like to invite Ms. Marina Hongur, Deputy Head of Kyiv City Administration, to talk about it, please. Hello, I will try to be very concise. How can I change the slides? All right. Greetings, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank you for supporting this project. It's very complicated, actually, because it was about involving the community to implement the reintegration of veterans and their family members. In Kyiv, we have over 100,000 of those involved in hostilities, the defenders, and if we calculate those who are involved in a way, family members of those who gone missing, etc., we understand that the overall figure is approximately 400,000 Kyiv residents, and since Kyiv also hosted a lot of internally displaced people, of course, the number of people who will require such an involvement and communication is enormous. And for us, it's very important that not only the government, the authority, but the active citizens are also involved in the readaptation and reintegration. We need the community to understand what can be the expectations and what can the assistance look like. As one of the veterans said, it's not us who have to get used to the society, reintegrate in the society. It's the society which has to change its habits, even though everyone is significantly challenged by war. And one of the projects helped us realize that the results can be actually applied to any territory, any area of Kyiv region and elsewhere, and they will be similar to the issues all the other communities might have. We can talk about mass phenomenon of IDPs traveling across the country. So the first stage was set in the right specific direction, and the second stage was the events, and the third stage was implementation of the recommendations. At this preparatory stage, the first stage, we signed the memorandum between on the implementation of this project in Strasbourg, and we launched a huge work because we needed to inform the residents. Today during the night there are air attacks. Tomorrow everyone has to go to work or to school, and people don't tend to think about different initiatives. And it was important to communicate to as many people as possible, to communicate about this assembly, what's its purpose, to spike the interest. And the main thing was to explain to people that not only they have to come, but also to think of something that can have real consequences. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. And of course, it was important to find those who will communicate with those people, and it was one of the main tasks, because having just an expert, it's not enough. We had to select ordinary people randomly. So to involve a huge number of people, of course, we had to launch a huge information and communication campaign. So there were billboards with these messages from officials on media. So to make it clear that it's not only a meeting with residents, it's a serious project which will lead to specific results. Then, of course, we had a registration of participants, and 45 of them were selected randomly. So it was not a selection according to some clear criteria or priorities. It was a random selection. By the way, we were working on that for a long time, and I would like to thank to the Council of Europe Office of Ukraine, because it's them who were selecting the candidacies, and we also wanted to prevent dissatisfaction of those who didn't get selected, and to avoid any complaints as to the activities of the Assembly. We had 3 sessions. We worked on weekends, and you can see that at every session, not only authorities were present, authorities that are responsible for veterans policy. I was personally present there, and to be honest, people mostly don't understand who does what in the authorities when it comes to different tasks. So people do not distinguish between different responsibilities of different departments of the city council. And for the people, it's the only tool, and for them, it's a unique mechanism. They're only interested in for everything to work, and we had to explain how everything works, what the city authorities can do and what they cannot do, what the districts can do separately, and what it's not their competence. And we wanted citizens to understand what can be their involvement. So our veterans were involved, those who came back, and they were explaining their experience, how they tried to reintegrate what are their challenges. Our representatives of different departments tried to explain at their respective levels what can be done, what can be the plans for them specifically. As to their participation in the discussion, the deliberative democracy, I was happy to see that people tried to work out a systematic tool. They expressed what their needs are. They tried to vote later, and we could see what were the concerns of different people, because there were young people, the elderly, and the elderly receives information in a completely different way, not in the same way the young people do. So it was a representation of different categories of Kyiv residents. And I guess the results can apply to other cities as well. So when we were working on solutions, it was good to see that 90% of what was written were ideas of could be ideas of any other people, but expressed in a very individual format. So these were all triggering and important things, and actually veterans and veteran family members are not only people with disability that we can see. These can also be older people with post-traumatic disorder or any other kind of trauma that cannot be seen instantly, but these people, often IDPs, also need adapted communication. So there were interesting outcomes, and we as government could look at these problems at a different angle, because the information was coming from people. And by the way, civilian citizens were involved residing in Kyiv. 99% of people were those who didn't didn't represent veterans community directly, but they had clear suggestions. And so we've worked out the recommendations. If you take a look at these recommendations, dear colleagues, you will understand that most of them can be adapted to other communities. For example, a veteran's passport for family members of veterans. That's corresponds to the needs of different families. So that's more than the initiatives or area of Ministry of Social Policy. So that's something at the level of citizens, a passport of a veteran or veteran family member. I guess it's something we can implement. It doesn't require any regulatory acts to be adopted. And we can look at other recommendations, and there are things that can be really very quickly implemented. Some things will require regulatory changes, but mostly these are very clear and understandable and easy suggestions. So we have 24 pages of recommendations. I will not read all of them, but we voted for every recommendation, and it seems to me that well, at least from what I saw, from what I read, mostly these were very real, very practical and doable things. They were expressed freely by real people and analyzed. To describe the results of the assembly itself, I can honestly say that people were not expecting that over 3 weekends, so over 6 days, people could really come to real ideas. They didn't come to have some tea or coffee. They really were ready to get involved. And we could see that that's something interesting for people. I agree that we don't have an electoral process, we don't have referenda, but when people get involved in this way, when they understand that their ideas will have an impact, that's a huge result for the district and the city in general. And it seems to me that these assemblies do make sense today, and they are necessary not only in Kyiv. Actually, I would hold several more within Kyiv as well. Bologna district, it's quite a stable district in terms of population, but there is a Darnitz district, for example, with the biggest number of IDPs, in particular from Mariupol, and the assembly will look differently. Every district will be specific. However, 90% of ideas might be the same. So about the results, what are we going to do next? After the experts analyze these outcomes, we will have a plan to implement and we will understand what can be done very quickly, what can be added to the city programs, city action plans, but in any case there will be some feedback loop, and I can say for sure that this veterans policy and anything related to memory of the fallen soldiers, these are very complicated things, but the assemblies really prevent miscommunication and misconception when people don't understand how decisions are made, and these negative emotions are prevented. Just because people are tired, they don't understand many things, they are exhausted. So I'm really grateful for this project, and I honestly hope that it will continue, because it's a combination of different elements, and it's something really crucial for our unity, the unity of our citizens. So thank you very much for the support, for assistance. A huge thank you to the Association of Ukrainian Cities. You're not listening to me, Alexander? You are. Thank you once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Marina. I do hope, because we do develop the report, the report would be forwarded to the authorities, and I do hope that we will continue the implementation, which include the recommendations. And we started actually this spring with the public assembly meeting in Rina community, the community which is really an outstanding one. They are very open, engaging the citizens and to the decision-making processes. That's in 2024. We had a comprehensive exercise on the development of the community, and during the development of this strategy, the idea popped up, this understanding that we want to keep the youth in the community, because the youth is not choosing in a community for their stay, and that's based on the results of the development of the strategy outcomes. We started to go for the assembly, and how the assembly was working. And I want to pass the microphone to Vika Shikrzan and Volodymyr Hebryn-King from Rivne City Authorities. These are the people who supported from the authorities us as a project in the implementation of the ideas of the public. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. The assembly was the first case in the history of our city. Gave an opportunity to speak to the community represented, to engage them for the discussion. What should be done in this city to keep the youth? I'd like to share our experience. Really, it was a huge tempo. Yesterday, we developed the strategy, and now we report about the activities. We'd like to thank the Council of Europe, because this is a unique opportunity for Ukraine, for the city. I think we will continue this activity. We'll support our colleagues, and every stage and every phase was important, was interesting. Hello, everyone. Acting head of the unit communication. This is our unit was actually submitting this application to the assembly, and we basically were the implementers of the project jointly with the project from the Council of Europe in Ukraine. Topic is very important, not only for our community, but for the whole Ukraine, and the developments from Obolonsky Rayon, the city of Kiev, and the veterans. And I would like to share our experience on implementation. We were the pioneers who started this year to implement this project. You see the logo, which our local artist was painted, and when we started to brief about the project, everyone was engaged, and everyone was ready to assist. Let me play with the clicker. 5 months for the preparation to the implementation. Again, that was the first time in our community, and the fourth case in Ukraine. This is what we are proud of. The subject popped up, as Darina mentioned, not from scratch. We were considering development of the strategy and had just a usual study. It was not a sociological study, but the citizens expressed us questions, and that gave us a reason to see for specific treatment, how to keep the youth in our community. We signed a memorandum back in 25 to the Congress of Local and Regional Authorities from the Council of Europe to provide methodological and technical support. What a public assembly is, not everyone knows what's that, and we also had to learn how the members of the assembly are selected. There's an open application available on the website, and different commercials, and the allocation of the participants, 30 been selected on the registration letters. So two individuals from a household can be registered. We submitted the quota for the citizens who were IDPs, and also we allocated some of the openings we reserved for the different villages. Then there was a selection how to mix those who registered per education criteria, so place of residence, or geographical principle, for example, to do kind of mini profile of the communities, to have kind of an even distribution. And then 40 participants were invited for the assembly, and then actually became the participants. There were 3 sessions for the public assembly. We started in March, and we invited the stakeholders to check some of the hypotheses which we developed with the experts of the Council of Europe, international experts, and basically we verified them. We had meetings with the experts in Strasbourg. There was a special, so we created a steering committee to make sure that everything is in line with the standards. We created a web page. I encourage you to visit it because we disseminated information with all the details. So a lot of information on the assembly which happened. And we started the work at the end of January. 5,000 letters. There was a challenge, if you remember, and the end of January was very cold weather. Lots of snow covered Ukraine, including our community. They actually impacted our plans, but from personal experience, 50 letters can be done within 22 minutes. So I checked the time. This is the experience we can share. We engaged our youth council, very active. If you do a public assembly, definitely you should engage the youth, because this and we engaged the educators as volunteers. They helped us to work with the letters. Huge information campaign, billboards, publications in the newspapers, and we had to cover as many people as possible. That video posted to the healthcare institution, trades, shopping malls, TV, radio. That gave us a very good outcome. 772 registration, the hits, and the response rate on the letters, response rate, we had almost 9%. Usually, mentioned by international expert, max 5 in Europe, but usually 2 to 3%. This is the record in our community. Then we had 3 sessions. We carried them out over the weekends. There was a break for the Easter holidays. We had to work Bologna district work in shelters. We also had to work in shelters, so we had to carry out some activities there. There were debates, there were activities with facilitators, experts, and they wanted to have some specific speakers, and we engaged our colleagues from the the committee to gather speakers to they develop their recommendations, they finalize those recommendations, vote, continue the discussion, proceeded with voting. The good point. This is what we saw in Europe at the events. There were artists who drew the process, and we engaged our students from the art school, local art school, and the children were impressed. They were very much interested not only to do drawings, but to listen on what's happening during the discussion. Then we developed 20 recommendations, very symbolic, planting magnolia, planting yanchik of magnolia. Has already green leaves on it. This is a good sign. And we delivered the certificates to the participants. 20 recommendations, and I'll ask my colleagues, we have a brief video to feel the atmosphere, how it happened.
Ну і власне.
What's next? We are currently in the process. The recommendations are revised by our colleagues, by the executive committee. Some of them being implemented partially. We will have the analysis, and some of the issues we're going to discuss with the colleagues to have the implementation action plan. So we're in the process. Well, the report. We do want to thank the Congress of Local and the Council of Europe and the Office of the Council of Europe in Ukraine for their support. Thank you. Thank you very much, Volodymyr. Now we're preparing the report, and soon we're going to share it, and we hope that the implementation of the recommendations will start soon. We mentioned that the development of the recommendation, the cooperation with the authorities is important, though it's the third phase, but the implementation demonstrate that everything was done on purpose. So please, a good case is a community which became the first one developing the recommendation, the one which demonstrates the share of the recommendation being implemented over the 2 years after the assembly. I would like to invite Irina Guts, deputy head of Zengelsky authorities. Thank you, Darina, dear colleagues, dear participants. For a small community the assembly with deliberate democracy was not an easy exercise, and when we got a proposal from the Council of Europe to go there, that was a huge challenge for us. We understood that it will be something very important, and we resolved that we should use a simple language to talk to our citizens, not to have a process for the process, was to have an important result. Everything started with same with Kiev and Rivne. We, our mayor, presented three important subjects: housing policy and solid waste processing, but we didn't know how important the subject would become to have urban space for social interaction and recovery. We have heard that 3.7 million inhabitants in Kiev, and the number of the veterans. In Zagreb, we have 62,000 and 15,000 veterans and their families. That some people in the community wanted to built a cathedral church, and the other part was interested in the development of the community, to have urban space for the families, for children, for the veterans, to be able to find themselves, be able to find important space for communication. We realized that we should develop a model for the others to follow us. We saw in Rivne and Kiev our facilitators. We were learning with them, and jointly with the Council of Europe, with the Congress, we had to develop information promotion campaigns. Our city mayor was interacting with media, and we selected 4 very strong civil society organizations who communicated with the public. And thanks to the Congress, we visited Austria. We had meetings at the national, local level with different communities who already implemented assemblies, and gave us an opportunity to consider good quality, get a good quality result. And this project really has good results. We had 3 two-days working sessions. We have we developed 4 spaces and 4 areas for it's very important to have a proper communication with these citizens, for the understanding not to create something for the sake of creating, but understanding how it would work to work with the taxpayers. And this communication, we created a very strong community of participants of the assembly, which still is there. They keep asking, what's the progress? What did we do? The tree which we planted during the national assemblies in Ukraine, and this eco initiative we continue in our communities. The development of the action plan, it was approved at this session of the city authorities, and we define the participants of the assembly, the outcomes which inspire us. We have new communities from the citizens, especially those who live in the rural, where democracy stipulates engagement to the process of people of different ages, different education, or live in these remote areas. It was important for us to hear our villages. We have 14 villages, and one of the villages, they have self-authority body, and they learned and they are drivers not only for the process which started during the assembly, they continue this movement. The whole village is interested to have a fine-tuned dialogue and implement what people need today. We have we're doing the area along the Sluch River, and we developed the concept of the development of our park. Lots of veterans coming back in the wheelchairs, but jointly with this School of Universal Design, with the support from UADP and the Embassy of Japan in Ukraine, and initiative and active assemblies, we were able to proceed there. We presented the report. We have a publication. Marina mentioned that she wants to have in different regions our city mayor and the citizens confirmed that something should be done in the city. In Zvagel, we had Marina Mathieu, Secretary General, and there was a meeting with our participants, met our youth and city mayor, to say hi to everyone. So to confirm that the tree which was planted grows, which is very important and eco initiative for our community.
Also, later, we became participants into the European Conference in Strasbourg, and actually introducing citizens' assemblies during the active phase of war is not so easy. We had to approach every family separately, and our people were afraid that these would be officers serving the documents that require joining the army, and it was also important to communicate that it's not that. The Citizens' Assembly was prepared for 6 months. 11 experts were involved, and today I would like to remind that we are celebrating 15th anniversary of open government, local open government, and we've wrote a single action plan for 2 communities, even though our capacities are different, but we selected 2 of the most important areas: development of youth policy and development of veterans policy. So we would like to thank Kyiv for also dealing with this area of veterans policy. Our Rivne colleagues started working on youth topics. We were following the assemblies which already happened in Ukraine, and we wish every community to grow the potential of our citizens, to involve them even more, and to show that everyone's voice counts. Our oldest participant was 93 years old, and she was really thanking us for inviting her. She didn't have an idea before the event what it would be, but she said she would tell her grandchildren that she did everything she could for her community. So thank you. Thank you, Irina. I really hope that everyone who's here today got really inspired by the capacities of citizens' assemblies and deliberative democracy in general, and I guess for next 2 years you will, over the next years, you will try to implement the same and use the results of it and really have the policies that reflect the opinions of citizens. Thank you for this panel discussion, and I'm passing the floor to Svetlana to wrap up. I am really proud that the project of the Congress of Local and Regional Authorities of the Council of Europe is such a reliable partner, allowing to implement the practices we really should implement during the war, because we have to preserve our democratic principles. So I am deeply proud of our partners, of our team, which implemented these. Darina, Lilia, Vika, a big thank you to you for your dedication, and I have to use this opportunity to invite the colleagues of the members of delegation to share their impressions to wrap up the session. We tried to make this meeting rich for discussions. So we wanted to cover several topics together with our communities who implement innovative practices, and we wanted to talk about this future action plan on open government, so I invite everyone to share the impressions of these first steps into deliberative democracy. So maybe Andrew Goff, Vice President of the Congress of Local and Regional Authorities.
I echo the sentiment that this model of citizen participation should be spread throughout Ukraine. But I want to do more than that, because as a result of what you've done in Ukraine, you have turned your country into an incubator for modern and better ways of engaging with our communities. And these lessons need to be learned across Europe. You are so far ahead of many parts of Europe in terms of citizen consultation, and it has been an absolute privilege to hear the results of all the hard work that has been put in. And I can assure you that the Congress will continue to support all this innovation in order to ensure that democracy remains firmly embedded in the Ukrainian nation. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much. Maybe Ms. Agrin Winskram also wants to say something. She is a rapporteur on integrity and prevention of corruption within the Congress.
Thank you so much, and thank you to all of you for your most inspiring work. And I just want to echo what my colleague Andrew Boff just said. Don't need to repeat it because I feel strongly the same. I think also that you are showing that true democracy is really locally and regionally based, because it starts with all of us in all our families at home, by the kitchen table or wherever you want to choose. I think this is where it starts, and this is where it should continue also, because a strong foundation is built when we do it together. And I think this is something that we all in the Council of Europe and also in the Committee of the Regions, where I also serve, are very, very deeply rooted in. And I think this is the key, and just learning from all of your hard work and how you are front runners in so many areas is a privilege for all of us. And I think we have a lot to acknowledge and see what you have learned and what you can share with your experiences from all of this to us. And I think also you show just it is possible during these awfully stressful times for you all. And just the privilege for us to be able to be here with you is deeply, I'm grateful for that, thank you. So it's just important for us also to know that you are not alone. We see you and we are rooting for you in every way we can. And I think this is also important for us as Europe to realize and just work across this. So the foundation for future cooperation in all areas, this is just what we're doing now. We're meeting, we are talking to each other, we are looking and hearing what your experiences are, and we can share ours, and we can learn so much from you. And I think this is the beginning, and only the beginning, for a very bright future ahead, when all these stressful times that we just want to come to an end as soon as possible. But, you know, we are rooting for you, and thank you so much for having us. Slava Ukraini.
Дякую за такі слова підтримки.
Thank you for these very honest and sincere words of support. Ms. Svetlana, over to you. I would like to use this opportunity once again, and I guess I will be speaking on behalf of all the heads and deputy heads of the communities, the teams which do everything to exercise their authority as openly as possible, and also on behalf of all the communities members of the Ukrainian Association of Cities. I would like to thank you, the Congress of Local and Regional Authorities. For us, your words are not just declarations. In many cases, without even knowing it, you help us defend local self-government in Ukraine. Through the activities of the Congress, the Council of Europe, we, in many aspects, could proceed with the decentralization reform. And it's true, I'm talking about specific resolutions and laws. Over the last years, it's being done only thanks to the support of the Congress and the Council of Europe office. I would like to thank Ms. Svetlana, who really states with us when we make our suggestions as to different acts and regulations. Thank you for supporting us always, for helping us, and for the fact that even despite the previous night, the shelling, you came to us this morning. It shows your strength as well and your belief. Thank you. And I'd like to say to the representatives of the communities, and I will try to be brief. I want to thank you, first of all, for coming here. For the heads of the communities, it's quite a challenge to come to Kyiv, to spend the whole day for the travel and to stay here. Actually, you are now showing how the communities work openly, even though, according to the law, due to security considerations, everything has to cease, everything has to be closed, but you keep shaping the policies, keep interacting with the communities, with citizens, and there is veterans policy as part of the activities, and it's about our present but also about our future, and the youth policy is obviously about our future. I know for sure that we are not a testing ground, we are not an incubator. We are people who are forced to find solutions that never existed before, and you can find it, you manage to do it, and I really want to ask all of you, the representatives of different parts of Ukraine, to share your experience, that it's possible to be pioneers and show it other communities, even despite our willingness, but we learned how to do the impossible. And what's important is you have the manual, and we would like to thank the Congress of the Council of Europe for producing these publications, and they will be both in Ukrainian and in English, in paper format and in electronic format, and the whole Europe will find out about your experience. But please please start following the official resources of the Council of Europe and the Association of Ukrainian Cities. That's how we spread information, and we would like to encourage you to be open. People who work in your community should know that you represent them in a proper way as well. That's something we try to promote with the Congress. So thank you for coming. Thank you for working the way you do in your communities. Thank you. Thank you, Oksana. And just a few words to wrap up this meeting. Today, I had a thought that the main result is that cities and communities joined the ones that have been cooperating with us for many years, and I was happy to see Khmelnytsky community representatives, member of OGP Local. That's a really flagship city for many other cities in Ukraine, and I was happy to see Novovolynska Hromada, one of our first communities receiving the award in 2023, if I'm not mistaken, 2023, and it was incredibly incredible for us to see, and it shows that the practices and the culture of open government became an integral part of our life. And I also I'm happy to see the members of our pool or network of like-minded people which grows and includes now new communities and new cities, and I hope that they will become also leaders of open government, and no one will stop on that path, and we will be happy to keep working with you. So thank you for this meeting, and I'm inviting everyone to have lunch upstairs on the first floor in the restaurant. Thank you, and we will continue our informal communication.